Hello everyone. A couple weeks ago, Sandro made a video talking about the proper way to clean inside the foreskin. Unfortunately, this is one of those topics that people in the United States especially are so ingrained with false information. People have it in their heads, they've been indoctrinated, brainwashed, you name it. They think that if you are not circumcised, the penis is dirty and it needs a lot of cleaning. This is not correct. The penis with foreskin is the way it's supposed to be, and it's not any dirtier than any other part of the body. Those that believe otherwise are those that have bought into this cultural bias against the foreskin. One of those things that unfortunately has resulted from that is that people think, oh, to keep it clean, gotta use lots of soap. Soap, keep it clean, wash it with soap. This is completely wrong. Never, ever, ever use soap inside your foreskin. Ever. Now, as I've said many times before, for a baby, a young boy, you don't wash inside the foreskin at all. At some point, usually in the teenage years, he will become retractable, and at that point, he can start rinsing with water only. But throughout life, for an adult man who is retractable, you should only rinse with water inside the foreskin. Never use soap. Soap changes the pH level and actually makes the environment more friendly to both yeast and to odor-causing bacteria. I got a message just the other day where someone says on a video where I talked about only using water, they're like, well, how can I make it smell nice? Well, first of all, by using soap, you are increasing the bad odor that people claim. This is because, like I mentioned a minute ago, soap increases the likelihood of those odor-causing bacteria because the environment inside is more friendly. When you do not use soap, but use water only, that pH level keeps it in a healthy balance. Using soap messes with that. Women are taught, as Sandro mentioned 2 weeks ago in his video, women are taught that don't put soap inside your vagina. They're taught this. We all know don't get soap in your eyes. But yet, when you say, okay, it's the same thing for the penis, the foreskin, people are like, oh, no, it's so dirty. Gotta use soap, gotta use soap. Oh, you don't use soap? That's gross. No, this is the way it is supposed to be. Anyone who's using soap is doing it wrong. That's the flat out. Now, I'm sure there will probably be some comments or things where people are like, well, I've always used soap and I've never had a problem. Well, guess what? Your body may be able to resist feeling any redness, irritation, or whatever for a while, but it's only gonna not cause you problems until suddenly one day the body says, I've had enough, and it does. Or you have all of these stories where people are like, oh yeah, no, I just kept having problems and I had to get circumcised as an adult for medical reasons. You know what? I bet you 99% of those so-called medical reasons were because they kept getting yeast infections or because it was red, itching, irritating, and it's because they were using soap. If they had stopped using soap, their problems would have gone away. But when you tell people this, they can't get it through their mind. They feel dirty if they don't use the soap. So, for the question of how do you make it smell nice, you use water only. By using soap, you increase the smell. Now, smelling nice, it's like, do you really want it to smell all perfumey and flowery? No, a penis should smell like a penis. When it's cleaned with water, then it smells as it's supposed to, and it's not unpleasant. But when people use soap, this is quickly going to change into a less pleasant smell because, like I mentioned, that environment, starts those odor-causing bacteria starts working immediately. So you only use water, and you need to kind of reject completely this idea that the inside the foreskin is dirty and it's always going to be dirty. You got to reject that idea. It's not true. People that say that show their bias, and these thoughts only come to people in circumcising cultures. Like I've mentioned before, Sandro, growing up in Peru, these questions about like using soap and when becomes retractable, the foreskin becomes retractable, all these kind of things. This is not something that they even, really, it's not something they even worry about, because everybody has a foreskin. They don't clean inside the foreskin, when it's not retractable. And when it is retractable, once they're older, they just pull it back, rinse it with water, and pull it forward. They just know this instinctively. And this is something that we have lost in the United States. This common sense knowledge, we have lost it because the circumcision culture has really been promoting this idea that, if you're not circumcised, that equals dirty. And in that way, they get people to think, circumcision is better, we need to circumcise. This is not true, but this is the way that they brainwash people into thinking circumcision is a good idea. Like I said, in countries that don't practice circumcision, this is not even a concern for them. It's kind of like, the foreskin doesn't go back until teenage years. It's like, well, yeah. When did yours first retract? I don't really remember, sometime when I was younger. Well, how do you clean it? You just pull it back and let the water go over it. I mean, this is just what they know in a culture that doesn't practice circumcision. This is the natural way. This is the way it's supposed to be. When you think about it, people have survived for thousands of years in non-circumcising cultures with no additional problems to their penises. It's only in the United States and countries that have bought into this nonsense that they somehow think that if you're not circumcised, it needs all of this special care. And it's not. Bottom line is, leave it alone. When it's a child, leave it alone. You'd never, ever, ever pull back the foreskin and clean inside it. Never. The child himself, when he's older, when it starts retracting naturally as a teenager, then he can rinse it with water only. As an adult, you continue to rinse it with water only. You don't use other products, soap, whatnot. Do not do it. There is absolutely no need for it. That's all there is to it. We need to get over this brainwashing that even people who are pro foreskin have grown, because they've grown up in this culture, they still are affected by this idea. They think, I need to take extra care so that the circumcising people aren't proved right. And while this is understandable, it's still one of those things where it's like, no, the default should be leave it alone. It'll be fine on its own. It doesn't need extra care. Don't worry about what the circumcising people will say you need to do. They don't know what they're talking about. And don't worry about it. The foreskin is made to protect and it's made to protect the head of the penis. And so together, the foreskin and the head of the penis create a healthy environment. I mean, do you really think it was designed to be there, so somehow you think it's gonna cause problems all the time? No. The only problems that are caused is when human beings don't leave it alone and don't just use water only. I mean, when you have all this man-made input into changing it how it naturally is, that's when you're going to have the problems. Leave it alone. It will be fine. And once again, having your foreskin is awesome and wonderful. Have a great day.